6. At Briscoe Chiropractic, we have been treating auto accident injuries for almost 2 decades. We focus on the diagnosing and treatment of injuries related to motor vehicle accidents, providing comprehensive care while documenting your injuries. Even minor accidents can cause injuries that may not show up right away. Ignoring these injuries could lead to chronic pain and long-term issues. At Briscoe Chiropractic, we focus on treating accident-related injuries. Our chiropractic care focuses on realigning your spine and reducing pain and helping your body heal naturally. Don't wait until the pain worsens. Early treatment is key to a full recovery.
To schedule an appointment with Briscoe Chiropractic, visit drqmb.com or call 337-534-0091. That's drqmb.com or 337-534-0091. Briscoe Chiropractic, where recovery is no accident.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Carencro Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
Jordan Walker of the St. Louis Cardinals took home the Home Run Derby championship last night in his first ever time competing in the contest. He beat out Philly Kyle Schwarber in the championship round 12-11 and hit 6 consecutive home runs, with 4 coming on the bonus ball to beat Schwarber for the crown. Walker's longest home run of the night was 470 feet, but Junior Caminero of Tampa Bay had the longest of the Derby with a 491-foot blast in the second round. Continuing with the MLB All-Star break, the 2026 All-Star Game gets underway tonight from Philadelphia. Astros slugger Yordan Alvarez is in the starting lineup for the American League, batting in the 2 spot as the designated hitter. On the mound, it'll be Dylan Cease of Toronto representing the American League, opposite of Christopher Sanchez for the National League and the hosting Philadelphia Phillies. First pitch is at 7 p.m. tonight from Citizens Bank Park. Today in the FIFA World Cup semifinals, France will face neighbor and longtime rival Spain for a spot in the World Cup final. This is the 3rd straight semifinal fixture between the two teams in competitive tournaments, with Spain winning both of the previous meetings. Kickoff is at 2 p.m. this afternoon from AT&T Stadium in Arlington. The road to the college football season continues tomorrow as Kevin Foote and Dawson Iserlo will head to New Orleans for Sun Belt Conference Media Days. You'll be able to catch Footnotes with Kevin Foote from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., followed by the Lowdown with D-Lo from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. live from Radio Row in New Orleans. Coverage begins tomorrow with live interviews and all the latest news on Sun Belt Conference football. I'm Blake Purser, and you're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Dynamic duos are nothing new to Louisiana sports fans. Breeze and Colston, Burrow and Chase. And here in Acadiana, we have our very own dynamic duo.
You're beautiful.
It's the big, bald, bearded, and beautiful one, Raymond Parch III.
I'm sexy and I know it.
And the man with the best head of hair in sports talk radio in Louisiana and Mississippi, James Meche. Here is RP3 and Meche on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Welcome into RP3 and Meche. I'm the big, bald, beautiful one, Raymond Parch III, better known as RP3, or as Mr. Bobby calls me, 2 out of 3. And I'm joined today, for the first time in a number of days, by the producer extraordinaire. He is also an LAB award winner, best trash stash in sports media in the states of Louisiana, Mississippi. Rocks the chain on the outside of his shirt. He's rocking glasses, new look. My man came back from Minneapolis, Minnesota, a changed man, a better man, and a man that's ready to dominate everything that he does. James Meche is here. Good day, sir.
It's great to be back.
There we go.
Back like I never left. And
there
by popular demand.
By popular demand, the people needed you. They missed you. They asked me about you. And I said, I don't know. Maybe you found a lady. Don't know. We'll talk about Mr. Meche's trip later on today in Minneapolis. How did it go? Did he actually get out of his hotel room and explore one of the great cities in America, or did he, just watch the channel guide in his hotel and go get snacks because he was scared of, the big city? We'll dive into that, plus how he did for his Yogurt U competition. He got to meet someone famous. I do know that. Someone that stepped up big in a Super Bowl. I do know that. That's what we call a tease. We'll share that with you a little bit later on today. We are broadcasting live from the Beal and Bear studios here in Upper Lafayette. Beal and Bear, Acadiana's hometown lawyers. We got a great show for you today. We had so much to cover yesterday about the Major League Baseball amateur draft that took place over the weekend. And we just touched on LSU. And we touched on the two LSU players that are local from Barb and from Sulphur High School. We're talking, of course, about Gavin Guidry and Jake Brown. And we talked about how they got a lot of guys coming back, high school signees that are actually going to be coming to LSU instead of going to Major League Baseball. But how does that break down? Because now they have about 7 or 8 guys on the roster. Too many. Break it all down about the draft, how that changes things for Jay Johnson and the LSU baseball team heading into fall ball with our buddy Koki Riley from the Advocate and NOLA.com. That'll be coming up at 11:30. At 12 o'clock, we're going to get you prepared for the World Cup. And our guy, Blake Purser, our World Cup correspondent, will be joining us to preview France versus Spain, two rivals going at it, two World Cup powers going at it in the first semifinal. The other semifinal will be tomorrow. That'll be England versus Argentina. Argentina's been the thorn in England's side for my entire life. Go all the way back to 1986 in the Hand of God game with Maradona. So we'll preview the two semifinals with the World Cup, and we'll also get his thoughts about Norway and their breakout star. It feels like they were kind of the breakout team of this World Cup, and we'll touch on all things soccer with our guy BP. He was very happy, by the way. I gave him one of those McDonald's cups. He didn't.
You got another Jimenez?
I did. I had 3 of them, so I gave one to you. I have one, and then I gave one to BP. He was all happy because he has the U.S. captain, and he got Grimace.
Oh, he got the Grimace one.
Yeah, he does.
Gross.
So we'll talk soccer with BP at 12 o'clock. And then in hour number 2, we'll recap Meche's adventures in Minnesota, and we'll take your phone calls as well. The ESPN hotline will be open in hour number 2, 337-706-0111. We do have a poll question of the day. We'll unveil that for you. But let's go ahead and get things started here on a Tuesday. It's time for today's specials.
The fellas can't help with your lunch plans, but they can serve up the top stories of the day in bite-sized pieces. Time to order up today's specials here on RP3 and Meche, presented by Southwest Volkswagen, located at 6184 Johnston Street. Order up.
The special for today is the Home Run Derby. Officially the T-Mobile Home Run Derby. That took place last night. Of course, All-Star Weekend is here, and it's taking place in Philadelphia there at Citizens Bank Park. I want to talk a little bit about the changes that were made to the format, and then I actually want to talk about the competition. Yeah. And I want to talk about the broadcast. So we're going to touch on all of it.
Okay.
I love the fact that they got rid of the timer. They had implemented the timer since around 2014-15. It was actually since 2015 for the Home Run Derby. And that became the norm. I did not care for that because I like the Home Run Derby that I grew up with. And that's what they essentially reverted back to, swing-based format to this year's competition. And I thought that was the right decision. I thought it was the wise decision. I thought it was the smart decision. Getting the clock out of there, and by the way, it didn't slow it down. Like, getting the clock, kicking it out, some people were concerned, well, it's going to slow down the Derby. It didn't. It went by very quickly. It was a nice pace. I thought it was done very well. And I thought that was the right thing to do. And you had 8 players make up the field, same in the years past. But instead of trying to hit as many home runs as they can during timed rounds, the participants started each round with a finite number of swings, 20 in round 1, 15 in round 2, and 15 again in the final round. Okay? So you can only get so many swings, which I like. All swings will count against a player's swing allotment, whether it results in a home run or not. However, a player who homers on his final swing of a round, and this played a huge role last night, a player who homers on the final swing of his round can keep swinging until he doesn't hit one out. So you get that last ball, and if you get a home run with it, you get another chance to hit another home run. And you hit that one, then you get another chance to hit another home run, which I like. It builds up drama, so much so that my wife was locked in watching the home run derby last night, and my wife despises baseball. She's like, oh, that's kind of cool. And she sat on the couch and still watched it with me. That's a win, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, when you get non-baseball fan to stop what they're doing
and sit down and watch, you're doing something right.
You're doing something right.
Yeah, because I love the fact that sometimes you just don't get hot till the end, but then you don't get take advantage because they're like, sorry, that like you got through your 20. The fact that you're able to keep going until you don't hit a home run allows you and opens up the opportunity for you to actually take advantage of a late surge. And the fact that you have that is an absolute game changer, and it does create the drama that you would look for, because so often with these all-star games and all-star weekends in sports, you're just like, who cares? Like, it definitely feels like the vibe of it has gone down over the years. So the fact that you have something like this to kind of create some drama in a sense brings back some intrigue into a sport that you either love or you're kind of like just meh about.
And we got drama last night. And look, you had not one but 2 Phillies in the group, Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber, which both made me nauseated to have to watch them on my television screen, because you know me, I despise the Philadelphia Phillies.
Really?
And even in a home run derby, I'm not going to root for them. Sold out crowd. It was raucous. It was loud. And Jordan Walker put on a show early on. He only needed, I think, 7 swings in the second round to advance to the final round. So he was a little bit fresher. And he takes on Schwarber. Schwarber gets past Contreras. Schwarber does a nice job. He advances to the final. He has to hold off Contreras. That looked like he was going to catch him there at the end, or at least tie it into a swing off. But Schwarber holds on. So it's the Philadelphia Phillies slugger in the Phillies ballpark with all the Philly fans. And there's Jordan Walker, the St. Louis Cardinals outfielder. And Schwarber sets the bar pretty high. Schwarber hits 11 home runs in the final round. He went first, which I love. And the crowd was all on Schwarber's side, and the crowd was booing Walker. And they were letting them have it because they wanted to see their guy. And Bryce Harper's got a big smile on his face, cheering on his guy. But you know who didn't have a big smile on his face while he waited to see what Jordan Walker was going to do? Was Schwarber. Because he knew that the guy that he was facing off with can rake. And what does Jordan Walker do? He hits 6 consecutive home runs in the final to stun the Phillies faithful and outslug Schwarber 12-11. And he wins it on a 407-foot blast to left field. He gets the $1 million prize for winning the Derby, which is more than his 2026 salary, by the way, which is only $799,000, which for us would be, generational wealth. But for baseball players, it's not.
It's a nice little bonus.
And the crowd was stunned, and I loved every single minute of it, just for petty reasons. To watch all the Philly fans take an L is chef's kiss. I texted multiple people about it as well, and they're like, "You never change, Ray." I said, "Not to worry, I won't."
If you're anything, you're consistent.
I am consistent. I'm always going to root against the Mets and the Phillies. Always. That's never going to change about me. And look, Schwarber's a good sport. He went up and gave Walker some love. What's interesting about this and what I found to stand out is, first of all, if you're watching it live, like, the boos were loud, the crowd was loud. He's obviously the villain for them in that moment. And he's not a star either. Walker's not a star. He's not on. Remember, Schwarber's been a star for years. He helped the Cubs win the World Series.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Cubs having 2 former members of their World Series team for like a decade ago play for other teams and be in the home run derby last night. Contreras was the other one. You're in a hostile environment. Schwarber set the bar high with 11 as it is. So not only do you have to step your game up and eclipse what Schwarber's done, which is a big number, you have to do so in a hostile environment while everyone is rooting against you. And my man looked like he was just going and making copies on a random Tuesday. Like, it didn't even faze him. Like, he was cool as a cucumber out there, didn't get riled up, didn't let the things, and they kept saying it on the broadcast where they're like, this guy, it doesn't bother him. He's locked in. And you saw that. But afterwards, Walker said, look, my thought was Philly is brutal. I mean, honestly, but I think it's pretty special because they love their players, and that's what you want from where you play, end quote. So he gave the Philly fans some respect and some love. I wouldn't do that because they're some of the worst fans in the history of sports. But they just are. They have a terrible reputation. These are the same people that threw batteries at Santa. Okay, so let's calm down. Come on now. They're Philly fans. Do you realize he becomes the first St. Louis Cardinal to win the home run derby? And when I say that, it's crazy because Mark McGwire played for the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
Albert Pujols played for the Cardinals, and they both took place. They also took part in home run derbies, but they didn't win them when they were Cardinals. A member of the St. Louis Cardinals has never won the home run derby until last night. So I thought that was kind of a nice wrinkle, something interesting there that had never happened before. And you're like, oh yeah, you're right. McGwire didn't win. Pujols didn't win. They didn't win. This guy has now won. Now, finally, the television product, which was on Netflix. Netflix has been on the struggle bus when it comes to live sporting events early on, whether that's wrestling or football or baseball, right? But I feel like they figured it out. And I know we would still love it to be on ESPN and hear Berman out there say, back, God, right? I get it. Nostalgia reasons, I would love that. I just literally binge watched This Is SportsCenter with Rich Eisen, which is nothing but sit-down interviews for like an hour and a half with old SportsCenter and the old days of SportsCenter. I get it. I thought Netflix did a very nice job. I think they figured out how to do live sporting events. Because early on, it would freeze, it would crash, they would have the boxing events, or they would have wrestling, or they'd have football. They've gotten better. And you're seeing it in real time in the last year and a half to 2 years where they are figuring this out. And they're putting together a very nice, polished product. My Netflix did not freeze. I didn't have any issues. I thought it looked like $1 million. And all around, I would love to see it if it came back again.
That'd be fire.
They figured it out, right? Because that was not their forte. So
well, yeah, I mean,
it's trial and error where you're figuring it out and going, oh, okay, this works. Now they had a camera get damaged because of a line drive, right? But that happens. That happens with Fox and ESPN and CBS and anybody else.
That's one of those freak accidents that just happens.
Correct. I thought the way they filmed it, I thought their graphics worked. I thought that the tracker worked. I thought they did a nice job. It was to a point last night where I forgot that I was watching it on Netflix, and I mean that as a compliment. If that makes any sense, right? Like,
yeah, because you're so used to the sports being on sports networks, or at least like affiliations, whether it's Fox or CBS or what have you. You're used to sporting events of any type being on there. So the fact that it was on a streaming website that you go to watch TV shows and movies on, you're like, oh, like the fact that you didn't even think about that just kind of gives a kudos to Netflix and kind of gives you more of a reason to go back and actually have a subscription to the most popular streaming website out there. So, I mean, yeah, the product overall, you would have to be like, that's absolutely amazing. And the fact that you had the trial and error, you went through, made some mistakes, the fact that you've worked out the kinks so far, and it looks like you're up and up from here on in. So why wouldn't it only get better and stay improved and not go down in the sense?
I thought it was a win across the board. The changes to the format I thought were done very well. I like this. Me and a couple of old buddies of mine, baseball guys, we texted each other like, keep this format. The format changes worked. It built up drama, which was great. The fact that the Phillies lost was even a cherry on top for me. And the product itself by Netflix, I thought hit it out of the park. No pun intended. We got to take a time out. When we come back, we'll keep talking about the long ball. You used to say back in the day, chicks dig the long ball. It's our poll question of the day. If we put together this hypothetical, mystical home run derby, who would win it? That's our poll question. We'll unveil it next.
Today's specials here on RP3 and Meche, presented by Southwest Volkswagen, located at 6184 Johnston Street.
Now is a great time to save at Southwest Volkswagen as summer is getting hot. Get the 2026 Volkswagen Atlas for only 0.9 APR for 48 months, or take advantage of $3,500 in customer bonus cash. The Volkswagen Atlas with third-row seating, amazing technology, and one of the most comfortable drives you'll experience. Don't wait. Get down to Southwest Volkswagen today, located at 6184 Johnston Street in Lafayette, or you can give them a call, 337-895-0110 for more details.
Make sure to set your alarm and tune in Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock for Sports Shorts here on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Join me, Ronnie Rance, and the Sports Shorts team of Tommy Christsan, Hunter McCann, and the crazy man, Joel Davis, as we break down the sports and teams that you love. The LSU Tigers, New Orleans Saints, and everything in between. Tune in Saturday mornings from 10 to noon for Sports Shorts here on Southwest Louisiana's Sports Station.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3 gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler, or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then contact us tab, or 337-519-3563.
BB's Auto Sales has been serving Acadiana since 1966. Cleanest selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Need financing? No problem. BB's offers easy financing for all credit types, including in-house financing. Plus, they're paying top dollar for your trade. Voted top 3 dealership in Community Choice Awards 2 years in a row. Visit BB's Auto Sales, 2 convenient locations off Johnston Street and in Abbeville. bbsautosales.com. Cleanest cars in Acadiana.
Imagine a place where wellness, luxury, and community come together. Welcome to City Club at River Ranch, Acadiana's premier private club. Enjoy a state-of-the-art fitness center, exceptional tennis and pickleball programs, resort-style amenities, and a vibrant social atmosphere. Whether you're pursuing your fitness goals or expanding your social circle, City Club offers an unmatched member experience. Visit cityclubatriverranch.com today. City Club at River Ranch, where lifestyle meets distinction.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices.
To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
Your Honor, I would like to introduce exhibit number 1.
MeTV is America's #1 classic television network.
There can only be one number 1, me.
MeTV features over 60 of the greatest classic TV series each week.
Go with the winner.
Enjoy dramas, comedies, westerns, sci-fi, and more.
You just watch me.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
One enjoys eating hot dogs and watching baseball. The other loves eating sushi and playing yogurt U-card games. Not sure exactly what that is, but good for him, I guess. Anyway, back to more RP3 and Meche.
We normally don't do hypotheticals on this show or on this station as a whole. But today felt like it was a good one, especially as we talked about the home run derby for today's special. How about some of the greatest hitters of all time and the greatest home run hitters of all time? If they were put into a 4-man pod for a home run derby, who do you think would come out on top? The guys that we gave you were Barry Bonds, Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, and Albert Pujols. Who do you think would get it done? That's our poll question of the day.
And the disclaimer being, it would be now. You would use the balls that are being used now. You would use the bats that are being used now, right? Ballparks. We're not setting this up, at the Polo Grounds, which had essentially an additional field in the outfield, right? Massive ballparks that you couldn't hit home runs out of. We're not using the dead ball era parks here, okay? So you're going to be using your standard parks in today's modern era. You know my affinity for Hank Aaron. He played for my Braves. He's from Mobile. I'm from Mobile. So, I love him. But if you're talking about a home run hitting contest, like a home run derby, I'm not picking Hank. Hank is the home run king because he consistently was able to hit 25, 30 home runs a year for 2 decades. He was never known as a guy that was going to go out there and blast you, 4 home runs in a game. That's not what his game was. He was a great hitter who just so happened to hit home runs. Okay? So there's a difference there. Albert Pujols was a monster, but he kind of falls in Aaron too, where Albert hit a lot of home runs, but he was also a really, really good hitter, overall hitter. If you asked me, in a home run derby style format, I'm picking Barry Bonds. Now, I could hear an argument for a person that wasn't put on this poll. King Griffey Jr. would probably be a good one to list. Maybe Alex Rodriguez. There's the other guys. Griffey in his prime, when he was healthy, when he played for Seattle, may have been the best baseball player of all time, which I still give that distinction to Willie Mays. So, prime, healthy, before the knees started giving out, King Griffey Jr., oh, man, that's another level. But if you're asking me between the 4 picks, and I think Babe Ruth could give them a run for their money, but Barry Bonds, it's just different, just a different level when it would come to something like that. That's who I voted for. But keep those votes coming. Keep leaving your comments on Facebook and on X, and do so on our YouTube channel, ESPN Southwest Louisiana, where you can stream our show right now for free. We got to take a timeout. When we come back, we're going to talk LSU baseball and the draft, and what does Jay Johnson do with this roster moving forward. He has a wealth of talent. We'll do so with Koki Riley of The Advocate and NOLA.com. That's next.
This is RP3 and Meche, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
Jordan Walker of the St. Louis Cardinals took home the Home Run Derby championship last night in his first ever time competing in the contest. He beat out Philly Kyle Schwarber in the championship round 12-11 and hit 6 consecutive home runs, with 4 coming on the bonus ball to beat Schwarber for the crown. Walker's longest home run of the night was 470 feet, but Junior Caminero of Tampa Bay had the longest of the Derby with a 491-foot blast in the second round. Continuing with the MLB All-Star break, the 2026 All-Star Game gets underway tonight from Philadelphia. Astros slugger Yordan Alvarez is in the starting lineup for the American League, batting in the 2 spot as the designated hitter. On the mound, it'll be Dylan Cease of Toronto representing the American League, opposite of Christopher Sanchez for the National League and the hosting Philadelphia Phillies. First pitch is at 7 p.m. tonight from Citizens Bank Park. Today in the FIFA World Cup semifinals, France will face neighbor and longtime rival Spain for a spot in the World Cup final. This is the 3rd straight semifinal fixture between the two teams in competitive tournaments, with Spain winning both of the previous meetings. Kickoff is at 2 p.m. this afternoon from AT&T Stadium in Arlington. The road to the college football season continues tomorrow as Kevin Foote and Dawson Iserlo will head to New Orleans for Sun Belt Conference Media Days. You'll be able to catch Footnotes with Kevin Foote from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., followed by The Lowdown with D-Lo from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. live from Radio Row in New Orleans. Coverage begins tomorrow with live interviews and all the latest news on Sun Belt Conference football. I'm Blake Purser, and you're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles is packing its bags and headed to Tampa for SEC Media Days. Tune in starting Monday, July 20th, as RP3 and Meche and The Lowdown with D-Lo will be broadcasting live from Radio Row for ESPN's Live from SEC Media Day coverage, powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac. Kick off the 2026 season in Tampa with ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
It's hurricane season, and Mid-South Power Solutions wants you and your family to be prepared. Protect your home from sudden power outages with a Generac automatic standby generator, the industry leader. Installed by the experts at Mid-South Power Solutions, the Generac automatic standby generator start up during power failures, keeping your home powered until the local utility restores service. Remember, installing a standby generator is not a do-it-yourself project. Mid-South Power Solutions factory-trained technicians meet the highest standards. Don't get caught in the dark. Visit Mid-South Power Solutions in Crowley or at midsouthpowersolutions.com. Mid-South Power Solutions. Your power, our priority.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Oh, look who's here.
Everybody Loves Raymond is on MeTV.
Who told you that?
Raymond!
America's #1 classic TV network.
Nothing even comes close.
Enjoy 2 back-to-back episodes every weeknight.
We're doing it twice.
Watch Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, it's all about you, Raymond.
Weeknights starting at 8 on MeTV.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
You're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station, and your home for the LSU Tigers.
Major League Baseball's amateur draft occurred over the weekend, and we talked about it on Monday's show about our local guys that got drafted. Of course, a couple of them are LSU Tigers to boot. But we also talked about what this means for LSU, and we briefly touched on it. But now here on RP3 and Meche, we're going to do a little bit of a deeper dive about how the draft directly impacted the roster construction by Jay Johnson for his team over there across the basin. And to break it all down for us is a man who covers the LSU baseball team for a living for The Advocate and NOLA.com. Our old friend Koki Riley joins us now. Koki, good day to you, brother. How are you?
Doing pretty well. How's it going?
We are doing great. All right, so let's just start off with kind of a general summary. Did the draft go down the way that you thought it would for the LSU players?
For the LSU players, not the signees. Yeah, so I think it did more or less. I usually list out and sort of pre-write all the guys that I think are going to get drafted for, stories that I can kind of publish right away when they do get drafted. And there's really only one pre-write from the LSU player side that I didn't end up publishing, and that was Chris Stanfield because he didn't get drafted. But yeah, I think all the relievers who went, that all made sense to me. I was glad Zach Cowan got drafted. I think he deserves it, despite the fact that I don't really know if he's necessarily catnip for a scout or for an LOB club in terms of like ceiling and projection. But I think that everything kind of went more or less according to plan. I think Derek Coronel went higher in the draft than I expected. I did not think he would go 5th overall. And a lot of scouts I talked to kind of varying accounts on where they thought he would land. But really, I think like one of the only few real question marks from a draft standpoint for LSU was Stephen Milam, that he kind of took his name out, about a month before the draft, and ever since then it's kind of been straightforward when it comes to the LSU players.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised by much of the placement of the actual players. I was a little surprised by Derek going earlier than expected, but obviously Pittsburgh liked what they saw there. Jake Brown went around where I thought he would be. I want to ask you about one of the local guys, and obviously Jake went to Sulphur High. He's a local guy, but he kind of went as expected. Gavin Guidry is interesting to me, because he was one of the best high school baseball players I have ever covered when he was at Barb, a great shortstop and a great pitcher. He could do both. There was talk about him possibly doing both early on at LSU, and he went into that reliever role. A key member of the 23 national title team. He pitched there in Omaha. He pitched very well in 24. Obviously, he misses all of 25 due to the back issue. He wasn't great this past year, but he still has kind of nasty stuff. Is that what you think the scouts looked at as well? Despite the production not being great actually on the field in 26, they still see that he's got that stuff.
Yeah, I think one scout, I had one of the more interesting conversations about him among, the players that I talked to for a story, or really a series of stories that came out on the advocate.com just before the draft. It was kind of breakdown, scouting reports, thoughts from scouts themselves on all the LSU signees and all the players. And the conversation I had about Guidry was really interesting, where one scout I spoke to about him thought he was pitching wrong, where he was kind of relying on his fastball up in the zone. And this is a guy who doesn't have the loudest fastball or the best induced vertical break on that pitch. So maybe he should be more of a sinker slider guy. And we already know it's a really good slider, and we already know he could do a good job of manipulating the baseball. He had a ton of different pitches over at by the time his LSU career kind of came to an end. But he was getting hit really hard, and I think a lot of that, guys are listening the ball on him, and I just don't think his stuff up in the zone was playing to where he should be a guy who lives up in the zone, right? And I think that really ended up hurting him this season. And that was the thought of at least one scout who I spoke to. And I think it's kind of interesting to see. He's kind of a pitch mix candidate guy where, if you can, change his approach on the mound a little bit and maybe tweak a couple things and use a couple pitches a little bit more or a little bit less, you could get a different result there. Turn it into more of like a ground ball, sort of low in the zone sinker slider guy. So I think, again, like you said, with the athleticism, there's enough there with him being kind of a more of a well-known recruit and all that, to where there's something to work with as a reliever for sure. So that's kind of my thought on him right now.
Yeah, and I remember we had conversations, and I forget the guy's name. He was a former scout or whatever that was there for the Vanderbilt series, and he was asking me about Gavin and about, hey, he's got stuff that you can't really coach. He's got something about him that is intriguing. And obviously, look, a Major League Baseball franchise decided to take a flyer on him, and he could work out really well, maybe as a setup man or even as a closer. Let me ask you, every single year, whether it's been Jay Johnson or Paul Maneri or Smoke Laval or Skip Bertman, it has not mattered. Every year, LSU puts together this great incoming class of high school players, and they lose guys every single year because they're recruiting the best of the best, and those guys get drafted, and it's hard to compete with the type of signing bonus money or guaranteed money that some of these players are getting right out of high school. How did the draft impact Jay and his roster construction with all those freshmen that he had recruited?
Much better than last year, and I think everything as a whole was very positive in terms of how things shook out for LSU and their recruiting class this year. You're looking at a lot of very, very talented guys coming into the fray here. I mean, Dominic Santorelli, Malachi Washington, a couple of guys who I expected, and I think a lot of people in the industry expected would, sign out of high school, sign with a major league club, get drafted in the first, 2 or 3 or 4 rounds. That did not end up being the case. They had high numbers to sign. We reported that before the draft, but they ended up, come to school and sticking to those high numbers, and Major League Baseball wasn't willing to meet them where they wanted to go at. So now they're at LSU, and they add, those two guys, especially in particular, really add to what is a very talented freshman class. This Cooper Sides, the right-handed pitcher from California. There's Colby Stringer, the right-handed pitcher from Mississippi. I think Major League Baseball's kind of afraid of high school right-handed pitchers, so I think that kind of helped both those guys get through. I just spoke with Jay Johnson over the phone. He just said that as well. So those are kind of the highlight guys, the 4 that I mentioned right there. But overall, I mean, it's a 16-man class. They originally signed 22 of them. Obviously, 6 of those guys are at least expected to go on to Major League Baseball. They were picked high enough in the draft to where you kind of expect those guys to go. But, the rest of them, I think they're going to be Tigers, or at least the majority of them will be Tigers. We can talk about why that may or may not be the case in a bit, but it was a very, very successful day for Jay Johnson, and he's got himself a very deep and big roster now as we head towards the fall.
We're talking with Koki Riley of The Advocate and NOLA.com. He covers the LSU baseball team. He joins us here in RP3 and Meche. And Koki, that leads me to my next question. He has a wealth of talent in both the rotation and as position players. You've wrote a great article that folks can go find at NOLA.com and at theadvocate.com, where you try to take your crack at, so to speak, putting together a lineup card and a starting rotation. There's going to be some tough decisions that are going to be made here with the guys that are coming back, the guys from the transfer portal, and the high school guys. So let's start with the rotation. How do you think it's going to work out here for Jay Johnson and his staff?
Yeah, this is actually maybe the most straightforward piece of the team, in that you have all 3 stars coming back from last year's team. Granted, those guys struggled at parts, but they were also, 2 of them were first-year starters, and the other one got hurt. So now you have them all back healthy and ready to go, and you need Casey Evans and William Schmidt to step up and be the guys that you kind of brought them in to be, or you kind of expected or hoped for them to be. And if those guys can be that, then this team can do anything. They can do anything. If they're not that, then this is still a playoff team, obviously, but you're really capping the ceiling on what you can do here. They're going to be relying pretty heavily on those 2 guys especially those 2 guys, to be who they need them to be. I think Cooper Morris is like a solid Saturday, Sunday option for them. Kind of raises the floor of their rotation, especially if he stays healthy after last year's injury. And then you bring in a guy like Landon Hood, who is kind of the guy who can compete for innings in the rotation, especially if there's an injury. Because, this guy was the West Coast Conference Freshman of the Year. He had an ERA well under I think it was under 2.5 this past year. Gonzaga, he's the big name transfer that you brought in on the pitching side. I don't think the portal was as strong with pitchers this year, which is part of the reason why they only added 3. And it's maybe part of the reason why there's not a whole ton of competition in this rotation outside of Hood. I mean, you can squint and maybe say Caden Smith or Diego Velasquez or one of the freshmen or someone else could sort of push the 3 guys to the top. But I think your 3 guys are going to be the same 3 guys you had last year. They just need to, stay healthier and take a step forward in their development.
You mentioned the rotation is probably the easier part to do, but that lineup is going to be far, far more difficult. How do you think it's going to shake out right now?
Yeah, I think at catcher you had the same 2 guys that you had last year, right? It's Cade Arambidi, it's Omar Cerna. They're going to rotate between catcher and DH, those 2 guys. Really, you're bringing back 4 of your 5 best hitters from last season. It's Cerna, Arambidi, Milam, and Braun. And after the Brown injury, those were 4 of your 5 best hitters. And that was, for all that team's faults last year, they hit the ball really well in the second half of SC play. So to get that many good, productive hitters back into next year's team, that's really a big boost, really raise the floor of this offense for next season. And all those guys can do something for you defensively as well. Aaron Beatty and Cern need to improve their catching defense behind the plate, but they'll be well rested enough, alternating for each other. And I think especially Aaron Beatty was better defensively behind the plate by the end of last season. I think Braun played pretty well defensively at first base, and we know what Steven Milam can do at short. Then you start getting into new guys and whether freshmen can get into the lineup. And I think Cade Curlin's pretty set at second base, 4-year starter at Florida, solid player. I think at third base, you're probably looking at Dawson Park, the transfer from Texas State. Looked like he was going to be the shortstop until Steven Milam decided to come back to school. Now he's probably going to be the third baseman. He has the arm to do it. He has the athleticism to do it. I think that's those 2 guys are pretty well set in stone at those spots. You have some freshmen in the periphery who could maybe help you out. You have a couple of returning players in Josh Pearson and Jack Ruckert who serve as at least serviceable depth. And Ruckert at second, I think, is particularly important because Curlin has a long injury history. If he goes down, Ruckert's a really good backup to bring him in. Ruckert could have started on this year's team. I don't think anyone really would have blinked an eye because he played pretty well when he got the chance to play at the end of last year, especially defensively. So they're really, really deep at those. They're pretty deep on the infield. They're deeper in the outfield, but they're pretty deep on the infield. Jordan Martinez and Parker Lowe are a couple of freshmen, and Luke Tucker. Those are like 3 freshmen to sort of keep an eye out for as extra depth pieces on that infield. Lowe's a shortstop. Martinez and Tucker are more third basemen. Tucker could probably play first as well. And then you've got in the outfield just a really, really, just a ton of talent, right? You were starting from 0 with that group because you were losing Curiel, Stanfield, Brown. It really needed a full makeover. William Patrick is really the only guy that you were bringing back from last year's team. And he's still in the fold, and you got, Bino Waters from Notre Dame, maybe the top hitter in the transfer portal. He's on your team now, big addition to left, and put him in left field, all ACC player. Angel Laya, transfer from Oregon, all Big Ten freshman team, hit 14 home runs this past year as a freshman for a team that made a super regional. Really, really, really good player. And you got him for 2 years. So that's a really big addition for you. And then Jason Walks, the outfielder from Tulane, top 60 player in the portal rankings according to ESPN. Not a ton of power, but really good contact hitter. Might be able to play some center field defensively. The one question after you brought in those transfers is who's going to be your center fielder. Maybe it was Nate Davis, who is a really good athlete, really speedy guy, pure center fielder, not a ton of power, not a ton of experience in the SEC, obviously. You had William Patrick as well, played a little bit last season, but he's still a very raw player. But to bring in Santarelli and Washington, that's really huge. Santarelli is more of a corner outfielder, but again, he hit 7 balls over 114 miles an hour at the combine last month, which is just absurd, especially when you're doing it with a wood bat. And then Washington, he might be your answer in center field. He's probably a true center fielder, at least the collegiate level, and he's got a lot of power too. He's a great athlete, big personality. I mean, there's some questions with the hit tool, but I think overall he's probably your best bet to start in center, and that's kind of the big question mark with this team. And is who's going to be the center fielder for you? You feel pretty good about Waters and Laya playing. Maybe Santarelli bumps one of them out if he has a really, really big fall and plays well heading into the season. But that's kind of where my head is right now with the lineup.
And, of course, you can read all about it at NOLA.com and theadvocate.com. I'll get you out of here with this, Koki, because it leads me into my final question. A wealth of talent, lots of experience, and a lot of top-notch talent that Major League Baseball scouts are salivating over. But last time I checked, the standard roster limit in Division I for baseball is 34 players. I count 42 now that are going to be on the roster for LSU, so how does this get worked out? Is Jay going to let some of the guys go? Is he going to encourage guys to leave? Is this going to happen during the summer, or is this roster cut down going to happen during fall camp?
The when is a question that I still can't answer. I did talk to Jay Johnson. I did ask him this question. His answer was basically, I have no worries about it at all, which is kind of interesting given just how many guys they have. Maybe a couple of the freshmen, and this is me mostly theorizing, but maybe a couple of the freshmen take themselves out of the pot, just realizing that it's going to be very, very hard to get any sort of playing time on this team. Maybe someone redshirts, and that doesn't technically count against their number. Maybe someone, I don't know. Maybe someone goes the JUCO route, and they don't bring in a guy like Major Osbolt, who's the one JUCO guy that they have who didn't get picked in the draft. So they have options here to sort of like trim down the roster if they need to. I think they're going to have to. It's still unclear as to who's listed down as a DSA and who isn't. But again, I don't think they can go into next season with 42 players. I just don't think that's allowed. They can go over 34 with the DSA designations. Those are basically players who, under the court settlement, the NCAA versus the House settlement, I should say, those guys were allowed to be kind of grandfathered into this system. So like last year, obviously the 34th the roster limit, but they had 38 players. So they can fudge the numbers. If they can get around 38, if they even get down to 40, you can see them, sort of get through the season with this roster. But, we'll see. Like it's still a bit of a question mark right now for them. They're going to have to cut down on this roster size, at least at some point soon. But there are some spots where you can say, okay, they can trim a guy here, they can trim a guy there, and get to where they need to go. I don't think they're going to have to lose any real impact players because of this.
Koki, always appreciate your time. Great analysis and insight as always. Keep up doing the tremendous work you're doing over there in Baton Rouge covering the LSU baseball team. And thank you so much, brother. Enjoy your vacation, recharge those batteries, and we'll be talking to you soon, bud.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
We're going to take a time out. More RP3 and Meche coming up.
This is RP3 and Meche live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Road coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
Only the best of the best will stand proudly on the platform when Michael's Men's Club brings you the 15th Annual Stripper Olympics. Wednesday, July 15th. It's a special night of fun and games when the Stripper Olympics returns to Michael's Men's Club. Guys, it's a no-holds-barred competition. Ladies, you have a chance to win big if you're in the game. Michael's Men's Club invites you to battle it out in 3 categories. The pole, the floor show, and the most ancient art of them all, the lap dance. With $650 cash per category. First place overall gets $1,500. Second place overall gets $1,000. And third overall gets $500. That's $5,000 in total Stripper Olympics cash to be awarded. Plus a feature in Exotic Dancer magazine. Professional entertainers come from all over the USA to compete for the $5,000 in cash. Guys, mark your calendar and tell your friends, because this is the event you cannot miss. The 15th Annual Stripper Olympics. Wednesday, July 15th at Lafayette's premier gentleman's establishment, Michael's Men's Club. Highway 90 Broussard. Doors open at 5 and show starts at 7 sharp. Tickets $30 at the door. Let the games begin. Get more details now at michaelsmensclub.com.
Attention first responders, police officers, firefighters, military and former military personnel. If you have an acre or more of grass to cut, Skag Zero-Turn Mowers would like to thank you by offering you a special discount with their Simply the Brave First Responders program. Save big money on the industry's top-rated zero-turn mower at Nolan's Lawnmower in Carencro. Nolan's can offer well-qualified buyers 0% financing for 48 months. Come by Nolan's Lawnmower at 3547 Northwest Evangeline Thruway and check out the full line of Skag Zero-Turn Lawnmowers.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Every weeknight, MeTV has your laugh therapy.
To chase away the blues or the olive drabs.
With 2 hours of MASH at 5.
This guy's ankle has tickled my funny bone.
Followed by the Andy Griffith Show at 7.
Doggone it, Otis. You're supposed to be hugging me when I'm arresting you. But he likes you, Bard.
Weeknights on MeTV.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
You know the routine. Eat, sleep, sports talk, repeat.
Well, up and at 'em. We're here.
Here is more daily sports talk from ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles.
Let's get to some comments on our poll question of the day. Of course, if you haven't heard it yet, let's unveil it here. Who you got in this all-time home run derby between Barry Bonds, Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, and Albert Pujols? As of right now, 71% of you are going with Bonds, 21% have said Hank Aaron, 7% have gone with the great Bambino, and no votes towards Pujols. Now, the thing is, looking towards some of the comments, we don't have too many of them. One of them really doesn't even include baseball, so shout out to JBK. Ton says it's Bonds, unless they intentionally walk him. Griffey Jr. might have given him a run for his money, but doubtful. And then JBK, like I was teasing there, he said, a juiced up Barry Bonds all day long, hashtag can't beat the juice. But then he continues saying, and it's only 61 days till the first Saints game. Which is interesting because if you remember before I went on my vacation, he was talking about the first preseason game. Now all of a sudden he's moving the goalpost to the first NFL regular season game for the Saints. And then, of course, he basically grabbed an old football card of Joel Hillenberg. Shout out to JBK for that. We're going to go ahead and take a timeout. That'll do it for hour number 1. Start for hour number 2. We'll talk off World Cup with our guy BP.
The best businesses aren't just businesses, they're neighbors. Here's a message from a proud certified South Louisiana business.
Bro Bridge Truck Stop Casino. They have the newest games around. Hot seat drawings and monthly specials like no one else. Located on the Bro Bridge Highway and on the banks of the Vermilion River. Come out today and try your luck at the Bro Bridge Truck Stop Casino.
When you support local businesses, you strengthen the communities we call home. Shop local, support local, certified South Louisiana.
Ozempic, Wegovy, GLP-1s. Every day, one thought haunts you. What if I stop? A 2026 British Medical Journal study says you're going to gain every pound back. So, what now? Well, there's an answer. Alex Goen patented hypnosis. The Journal of the American Medical Association says adding behavior therapy to GLP-1s produces 3 times the results than GLP-1s alone. And hypnosis is behavior therapy concentrated. Alex Go and Hypnosis is the only U.S. patented hypnosis proven useful by the U.S. Patent Office. Engineered to destroy cravings, make you full on half the food, and kill late-night fridge attacks. Only $59.99 or your money back. Weight loss seminar Saturday, July 18th at the Hilton Garden Inn Cajun Dome, 11 a.m. Sign up at alexgoen.com. That's ALEXGOEN.com.
Get ready for one of South Louisiana's favorite summer traditions. The 17th annual STM Fishing Rodeo is July 31st and August 1st at Quintana Landing in Sycamore Point. Whether you're chasing the winning catch or just looking for a great weekend on the water, enjoy great fishing, exciting prizes, delicious food, and a fun atmosphere, all while supporting St. Thomas More Catholic High School. Register by July 24th at noon to guarantee your official event t-shirt. Register today at stmcougars.net/fishing.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Carencro Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up!
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys! Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
Jordan Walker of the St. Louis Cardinals took home the Home Run Derby championship last night in his first ever time competing in the contest. He beat out Philly Kyle Schwarber in the championship round 12-11 and hit 6 consecutive home runs with 4 coming on the bonus ball to beat Schwarber for the crown. Walker's longest home run of the night was 470 feet, but Junior Caminero of Tampa Bay had the longest of the Derby with a 491-foot blast in the second round. Continuing with the MLB All-Star break, the 2026 All-Star Game gets underway tonight from Philadelphia. Astros slugger Yordan Alvarez is in the starting lineup for the American League, batting in the 2 spot as the designated hitter. On the mound, it'll be Dylan Cease of Toronto representing the American League, opposite of Christopher Sanchez for the National League and the hosting Philadelphia Phillies. First pitch is at 7 p.m. tonight from Citizens Bank Park. Today in the FIFA World Cup semifinals, France will face neighbor and longtime rival Spain for a spot in the World Cup final. This is the 3rd straight semifinal fixture between the two teams in competitive tournaments, with Spain winning both of the previous meetings. Kickoff is at 2 p.m. this afternoon from AT&T Stadium in Arlington. The road to the college football season continues tomorrow as Kevin Foote and Dawson Iserlo will head to New Orleans for Sun Belt Conference Media Days. You'll be able to catch Footnotes with Kevin Foote from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., followed by the Lowdown with D-Lo from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. live from Radio Row in New Orleans. Coverage begins tomorrow with live interviews and all the latest news on Sun Belt Conference football. I'm Blake Purser, and you're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Dynamic duos are nothing new to Louisiana sports fans. Breeze and Colston, Burrow and Chase. And here in Acadiana, we have our very own dynamic duo.
You're beautiful.
It's the big, bald, bearded, and beautiful one, Raymond Parch III.
I'm sexy and I know it.
And the man with the best head of hair in sports talk radio in Louisiana and Mississippi, James Meche. Here is RP3 and Meche on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Welcome into hour number 2 of RP3 and Meche as you're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana sports station, broadcasting live from the Beal and Hebert studios here in Upper Lafayette. Beal and Hebert, Acadiana's hometown lawyers. If you missed hour number 1, well, guess what? Guess who's back? Back again. Wait for it. It's me, back from vacation. I'll talk more about that trip later on in hour number 2 because that was quite the dandy. Not only did I do my nerdy stuff with Yu-Gi-Oh, but I also was able to get some sports into it one way or another. We'll talk more about that later on. So it won't just be me being nerdy. I'll still be able to fold sports in this. It's going to be a good one. It'll be fun to talk about there as well with our guy RP3. Later on, we'll just kind of reset as well. We'll kind of go back to the home run derby. We'll talk about the poll question of the day and even get ready for tonight's All-Star game between the AL and NL. But other than that, if you want to call into the ESPN hotline, you can absolutely do so. 337-706-0111 is the number to dial. 337-706-0111. The thing, though, is we're going to start off hour number 2 by going to that ESPN hotline to talk about the World Cup. This one's interesting at this point in time. We're now down to 4 teams. We have the semifinals. We have France versus Spain, and we have Argentina versus England. There's one team that I really, and really all of us really, should want not to hoist that trophy. And of course, it's the Brits. To talk about it all and talk about how everything has gone down so far, we head to that ESPN hotline to bring on our first and second guest of today's edition of the show. It's our guy BP. You may have heard him earlier and even just a couple of minutes ago with the 2-minute drill. But Blake, how goes it on this Tuesday, my man?
It is going good. It was a little shaky this morning heading to the office because there was a monsoon happening outside, so I almost needed to get out the boat, but thankfully didn't have to, but did kind of have to take an alternate route to get to the office and go down some back roads and, try to just stay above the water line.
Yeah, I was noticing earlier when I finally woke up and I saw your text and I was like, uh-oh, something must have happened. I slept through it, so I don't know what had happened, but I'm glad it wasn't me that went through it. Let's look towards this World Cup. And we'll leave more of the preview matches for tonight and tomorrow. We'll leave that more up to RP3. So I'll ask you more broad and overall with this World Cup. With what's going down so far, Norway ended up getting eliminated. So I want to ask you about that because this is a team that it's been the last 7 World Cups before this one. They didn't make it. It's been quite a while, and all of a sudden, they get to the quarterfinals with an absolute rising superstar in Erling Haaland, who has been a social media star as well with his personality. He's kind of been like the Alyssa Liu of Olympics, but for the World Cup in this one. I just want to ask you about the journey of this team and how they came to be to make this type of magical run with a young superstar.
Yeah, no, they were fantastic, and it's all due to Martin Odegaard and Erling Haaland, what they were able to do. They're 2 of the best players in the world at their respective positions. Odegaard playing for Arsenal, Haaland playing for Man City. That's 2 teams that are just fantastic over in England. Usually you have a dark horse or somebody that makes it further into the tournament than you would normally expect. Usually it's the host nation. Didn't really happen this year, but nevertheless, they were definitely that dark horse. And I think out of, years prior, when you look at different teams that were like, man, they shouldn't really be here, they were one where it was like, I think they had a realistic shot of upsetting England. And they're just a fantastic side. The problem is, as great as Odegaard and Haaland are, it's just them. I mean, outside of those 2, the output that they have from their team is just not that great. So it just speaks to how good they are that they can power them to a quarterfinal. And look, honestly, they're probably 2 or 3 players away from being, a semifinal team, maybe even a final team. That's how good Haaland is up top. That dude can score from anywhere on the field. So if you just have a couple more pieces behind him, I don't know what they're doing over in Norway to get guys ready for the World Cup, in 4 years, but man, just a couple more pieces behind him, and you could be a semifinal, even a final team.
And what I find so interesting about this run, and I don't know if this affected in any way or if just England was just that much better back in the weekend's matchup where they won 2-1 over Norway. I know that Haaland doesn't get a lot of touches, and he doesn't have the ball not in his hands but on his feet too often. But when he does, he has a very good chance of scoring. Did you find that maybe they should have had more opportunities for him? Because I know they subbed him out late in that ball game when they were still only down by 1 goal, especially in the 93rd minute when Jude scored his second one of the evening. But did you find the amount of touches for Haaland to maybe affect it in any way where you would have wished he gotten more touches, or did you just think that England was just that much better on the pitch this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, England was the more well-rounded, better side. On paper, they should win that game 10 out of 10 times. They win the battles in the midfield. They're they're stopping easy distribution to Holland. That's the thing. Holland is an old school style of striker where he's just give me the ball and I'm going to put it in the back of the net. He's not a setup guy. Didn't play like a false nine. He's just a true to fashion old school striker. If you get me the ball, I can put it in the back of the net. So England did a really good job of limiting the amount of times he got to touch the ball. And when he did get to touch the ball, he didn't have good looks at the goal, which is the most important thing he needed. So yeah, that's what I'm like. If you have a couple more guys in there, that they don't even have to be at the same exact level as an England midfield, because that's one of the best teams in the world. But just, I mean, even, like a Weston McKennie from the United States or a Tyler Adams, just guys there that can help facilitate that offense. And yeah, I mean, Norway could have easily won that game, but they're a couple players shy of getting through to that next level. You can't just have two. Two can get you to the quarterfinals. It's not going to get you to a semi and a final.
Looking towards Argentina, and even going back to that game against Switzerland where they won 3-1, where it was just another magical comeback by them where they had a late surge and put up multiple goals. I'm fascinated with how this team is played, because I keep thinking the luck's going to run out, and I hope it's not, because I love Messi. I'm more of a Messi guy than you are with Ronaldo. But at the same time, what are you seeing with this Argentina team? Because I am baffled by the amount of late pulls that they've been able to get, especially this weekend when they won 3-1. But up until the closing minutes, because they had to go to extra time because it was 1-1, and then they scored 2 goals within minutes of each other in the 112th and 121st minute.
Yeah, no, they've been playing sloppy. They played disjointed. They play lazy. They're not getting into the game quick enough. And you can have those types of performances when you're playing Cape Verde, Egypt, and Switzerland. But now you've got a different beast ahead of you in England, who, if you slack off and you don't get into the game immediately, they can really hurt you. Now, the benefit for Argentina is in their last 3 knockout games, they've scored 9 goals. And look, I'll be honest with you. They had some help against Egypt. There is no way that anybody can tell me that foul should have been called and that goal disallowed when they were playing Egypt. It was insane to see. I do think it was more egregious than, Balogun's red card being overturned. I mean, that was just a clear and evident, hey, we don't want you guys to win. And, FIFA they've had some accusations of that in the past, but yeah, Argentina, they've looked sloppy. They look lazy. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily just a hangover from the 2022 World Cup. I mean, I did question how hungry they were going to be going into this World Cup, but they're still so talented that they're getting the results. But I mean, if you look at their path, you go Cape Verde, Egypt, and Switzerland. That should be the easiest path out of any team that's made it this far, yet they've made it look like a gauntlet. So yeah, they have to have a lot of soul searching to do to see if they can, pull it all together to beat England. Because I can tell you, England's fired up and they're playing really well. So Argentina is going to have to be firing on all cylinders from the start to get a result against England.
What have you made of the possibility of this tournament being even further expanded to a 64-team bracket?
Yeah, I think going in, or before the tournament, I was, 48 teams. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but then when you're able to, go to work and there's a game on, you get lunch, your lunch break, there's a game on. After lunch, there's a game on. You get home, there's a game on. I love that. So honestly, I kind of hope they do. I know it may, I don't know if it necessarily waters it down, but it does change things and, it changes qualifying and everything and the teams that earned it to get there. But I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. People were upset with 48 teams, and I think if you'd had 32 or 48, the same 4 teams would be in the semifinals right now. So I really don't think that's going to change much. But yeah, I have no problems getting home from work and watching, Guadalupe versus Vatican City, or, New Zealand versus Cyprus in, a round or group stage game with 64 teams. I'm all for it. I love the sport, and it's definitely not going to upset me seeing more games on TV, even if I don't know where the country's located or who's even playing for them.
We're talking with BP, Blake Purser, a man who loves watered-down content and competition. He's a big fan of that. He joins us here on RP3 and Meche. I just don't agree with you. Like, you have to earn the right to go play in it. And if we're going to just expand it, then we're just letting everybody in. And, that's just being done for greed and not for competition. But I digress. I'm an old man who screams at the clouds. I'm going to scream at the clouds as well. Why are the semifinals for the World Cup, which is being hosted in our country, why are they taking place at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday and a Wednesday?
It's just the time difference. I think.
But time out. But time out. I had this discussion with Dawson. The Open Championship is over in Scotland, right? It's golf.
Yes.
So the tournament is being played on their time. And the rest of the world adjusts to the tournament being played in Scotland, which means you have to wake up super early, just like we do for the Australia Open when it comes to tennis. You have to wake up super early, okay? Why aren't we making other people stay up late or wake up super early? Why are we accommodating the rest of the world?
Well, not to get into politics too much, but I don't think the rest of the world really likes us too much. No, I'm just kidding. But they don't care what time we have to watch the game. Correct. Because it's FIFA. They want it set at a good time for people across the pond. And, there's 3 European teams there. But I think also, too, a big part of that is it's not a yearly tournament. It's the World Cup, so it's every 4 years. You want to drive up viewership. And it's unfortunate that it's at 2 p.m. for us. I would even say it's unfortunate for the guys playing in the game because, I can't imagine many of them have played huge competitions like this, high-stakes games, and they're kicking off while the sun's still up or, not even close to setting. So it is unfortunate, but I think it's mainly because, A, they want to accommodate everybody, but also it's every 4 years. It's not a yearly thing. And soccer is a little more popular than golf, if we're being honest. So I wasn't going to get up to watch the Open at 2 a.m. I'm not Dawson Angelo, but to be honest with you, I wouldn't have gotten up at 7 p.m. or, been awake at 7 p.m. to watch it. So it is what it is, but it is unfortunate that it's at 2 p.m.
So if Team USA had advanced to this stage, you think they'd still be playing at 2 o'clock?
I think so, yeah.
Really? Wow. Okay.
I think I would imagine they probably had the time set before anything was announced or, any teams made it this far. Now, would pressure from the American public make them change their mind and move it to a 6 p.m. kickoff? Maybe so. But, yeah, I think they were going to go with 2 p.m. regardless, honestly.
All right, let's talk about the 2 semifinals because the first one is today. We get Spain versus France. They're rivals. They've both won World Cups. They know what it takes at this level. France has Mbappe, and they have a great team overall. Spain has some young guns that could be the soon-to-be stars, right, of the game on a global level. France is your heavy favorite here, but Spain has been playing really, really well ever since they got out of group stage where they were offensively sloppy, but really defensively they've been magnificent.
Yeah, Spain is they've got a lot of talent, but they're not as experienced. France is loaded with talent and does have the benefit of experience. And not to mention, you have, what is Mbappe? Is he number 1, right? Yeah, he leads the Golden Boot, tied for the Golden Boot race with 8. And he's got 3 assists. There's a reason he's one of the best players in the world, and he's showcasing it. Now, one of the things that Spain has not showcased is their best player in the world, the young phenom, Lamine Yamal, who has not really asserted himself in this tournament. He hasn't had that marquee performance. And, if there was ever a time to have one, it's against France. The problem being is it's France. It's a tall task. So France, they're super quick. They're great on a counter, and Spain loves to possess the ball. Now, they've got a rock-solid defense, but France, I think, attacking kind of has the edge there with their speed. So Spain's going to want to possess the ball a lot, and they need to be careful because if they lose position or they lose the ball, France can just crush them on a fast break and, put one in the back of the net before you can even blink. So I have to give the edge to France. And another thing, Spain really hasn't been that great in front of the goal. They have not scored a whole lot of goals. They've looked like they're just kind of asking around for somebody to step up and do it. And it's come from different places, but France, I mean, other than Kylian Mbappe, you also have Ousmane Dembele, who can, he's won a Ballon d'Or, which is basically the soccer Heisman. So France just has attacking pieces all around. Now, I know Spain has also beaten France. I think when I read it this morning, like the last 2 or 3 competitive matchups that they've had have all been semifinals, and they've all been won by Spain. But the World Cup is a different beast, so I'm going to have to go with France here.
Makes a lot of sense. We'll get you out of here with this. The other semifinal is on Wednesday, and we get England, who we keep waiting for the other, shoe to drop on them to lose. They've had some close calls, yet they've found a way, especially in crunch time in these matches. They have risen to the occasion, right? And I don't think the goal should have been included the other day. I thought they got a couple of big breaks, which was kind of despicable. But it touched a wire. I just don't understand how we don't see that. Shout out to FIFA. But, Argentina has been the thorn in their side. It goes all the way back even to the hand of God game back in 86 with Maradona, right? So Argentina's always been their Achilles heel. Argentina hasn't played their best. They didn't beat a single top 10 ranked team on their way to the semifinals, the defending World Cup champions. But they're still Argentina, and they still have Messi. How do you think this goes down tomorrow?
Yeah, that's the golden thing, is that they still have Messi. It doesn't matter how bad they've played. They still have the GOAT. And look, it's coming from a Ronaldo fan. But they've been slow to get into games, like I was telling James. So England's midfield, I think, has a clear edge, and they're not going to be able to sit and just kind of, wait to get into the game and, let it come to them. No, England's going to take it right to them. And I think out of all the English teams that have, it's coming home and then they failed, and then year after year, whether it's the Euros or the World Cup, the key difference in this is that they have Jude Bellingham, who is quietly the best player of this tournament. Everybody wanted to talk about Mbappe, Messi, Haaland, and for good reason. Jude Bellingham's a midfielder, and he's on 6 goals right now, and he's got Harry Kane up top, who's one of the best strikers in the world. And England's hungry. They know the history, the rivalry with Argentina. One of the great things about the World Cup is it teaches you about lesser-known conflicts like the Falkland Islands, which has been a big talking point between the two fan bases on social media. But I like England's midfield in this one, and I think that's the difference maker, and that's because of Jude Bellingham, who I honestly right now, as great as Haaland and Mbappe are, he's the best player in the world.
The man says it's going to be France versus England in the World Cup final on Sunday. I hope you're wrong. I really do.
I do too. Honestly, I do too. I don't want England to win.
No, we don't. BP, appreciate your insight and your analysis, bud. Enjoy the rest of your day, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
We got to take a time out. Good 20 minutes there of World Cup talk with our guy BP. Got to take a time out. When we come back, how about we give you an update on that poll question of the day? And we'll open up the phone lines. ESPN hotline will be open. 337-706-0111. That's 337-706-0111.
This is RP3 and Meche, live on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
If you're needing to get yourself a new rifle or shotgun for hunting season, or maybe picking up a new handgun to protect your home and your family, or you're just running low on ammo, go see my friends over at Louisiana Gun Shop, located at 2927 Highway 90 East in Broussard today. They're open Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. until 6 o'clock in the evening, and they have a tremendous selection of both new or used handguns, rifles, shotguns, ammo, suppressors, and even apparel. And they pride themselves on spending their money locally because they're a small business themselves. That's why they've teamed up with a local finance company that's currently offering 0 down and same as cash for 1 year. That's right. If you're a little short on cash, you can finance your guns, ammo, and even suppressors. Go see my friends at Louisiana Gun Shop, located at 2927 Highway 90 East in Broussard today, and tell them RP3 sent you.
From Tiger Stadium to the Texas state line, ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles is your home for live and local sports talk in Southwest Louisiana. We're your official home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros. ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles also tackles the latest involving the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, McNeese Cowboys, and New Orleans Saints. So keep it locked right here. ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
BB's Auto Sales has been serving Acadiana since 1966. Cleanest selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Need financing? No problem. BB's offers easy financing for all credit types, including in-house financing. Plus, they're paying top dollar for your trade. Voted top 3 dealership in Community Choice Awards 2 years in a row. Visit BB's Auto Sales, 2 convenient locations off Johnston Street and in Abbeville. bbsautosales.com. Cleanest cars in Acadiana.
When strength matters, go to apfabllp.com. Precision built to last, from heavy-duty aluminum structural welding using TIG, MIG, and stick to custom metal fabrication designed exactly for your project. Need safety inspections, weld analysis, or 24-hour metal repairs? Trust A&P to get the job done. For quality craftsmanship and dependable service, visit apfabllp.com. That's apfabllp.com. A&P Fabrication and Construction. Built strong, built right.
We are the soldiers of the Louisiana Army National Guard. We are your neighbors. We are your sons and daughters. While we serve part-time, we are learning valuable life and job skills. We are earning money for college, for trade and technical schools, and for certifications. We are proud to serve both our country and our home state. We are your Louisiana Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
MeTV is America's #1 classic entertainment television network. And here's one of the reasons everybody loves MeTV.
Oh, it's a classic.
The great comedy lineup on weeknights.
This will be fun. Come on.
With Meche.
Loaded with snappy comebacks.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I was just funning with Barney.
And Everybody Loves Raymond.
Now we got a show.
Watch Meet TV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
The United States Deputy Sheriff's Association is a national nonprofit and the largest non-governmental provider of services to law enforcement. The USDSA assists city, county, state, and federal agencies with free safety equipment donations and officer survival training, along with cash donations to families of law enforcement officers who perished in the line of duty, a citizen awareness program, and more. For more information on United States Deputy Sheriff's Association, please visit usdeputy.org.
ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles is the #1 rated sports station in Louisiana, according to our mamas.
Mama said that. Mama said that. My mama said that. My mama said.
Back to more of our mama's favorite sports station.
Welcome back into RP3 and Meche. Can we talk Pelicans real quick?
Sure.
Not to be a downer.
Okay.
But, so they overpaid for DeAndre Jordan. Have you started to see this reporting about this?
I saw something about DeAndre Jordan, but it was
so
like...
it's a 2-year deal, Kat. So they locked him up for 2 years, a 37-year-old washed-up center that's good in the locker room. Okay. He's your Haslam.
I was going to say he's your Udonis Haslam.
Haslam was a far better overall player than DeAndre Jordan was. Yeah, I said what I said.
Whoa.
And they gave him a second year, Kat, because they thought the market was coveting him.
Huh.
I just...
I mean, I guess if they're looking at it from like the locker room perspective, they want to make sure that they have him for, I guess, the next 2 years to make sure that these young bucks like Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears, once he's gone, can like really take over.
Isn't Zion supposed to be that guy? Year 7, right? Year 7 coming up for the big fella?
I think it's year 8.
Okay. So if you're almost in the league for a decade, should you be overpaying washed-up players to be your leaders?
Can never have enough leaders.
You didn't answer my question. Shouldn't the face of the franchise be your leader? There we go. I thought DeJounte Murray was going to be a leader on this team too. So, like...
Can never have enough leaders.
That's
what I'm saying.
They're going to be chock full with leaders and have no one that can shoot the basketball. That's amazing.
That is very true.
Do you want to know what DeAndre Jordan brought to the table last year on the court? Would you like to know? Because I have it in front of me. He gave you 12 games, Kat.
Mm-hmm. Did he start one of them? I feel like he did.
12 games.
Oh, he started all
7.
12. He started 7 of the 12 games he played in. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
So, 37-year-old backup center gave you 12 games, and apparently they have overpaid him because they don't understand how this works. Like, they don't understand how anything... They are so just... I'm trying hard not to be negative. I really am. But, Kat, it is hard to not be negative about the Pelicans.
Okay, so looking at this deal, it's 2 years, like you said, so it would expire in 2028. He will be paid just a smidge under $8 million over those 2 years. Because the first year is like $4 million, and then it'll be 3.8 after that. Or actually flip it the other way, because it'll be 3.87 this year, and then it'll be 4.07 in the 27-28 season. So that's actually like the league min. So they're giving them as little as they can, but it is interesting in the fact that it's not just a one-year deal, the fact that it is multiple years, as Aiden is already 37, but will be turning 38 soon, so by the end of the contract, he will be close to 40. Now, obviously, with him also being on the league min and the fact that he only played 12 games last year, you're not expecting him to go out there and play. He's just more of, like we said, the locker room bench guy to kind of help upbring the young bucks.
Sure. I also have another question. And I know we're up against the timeout, but we don't have any guests at 12:30, so we can run a little late here. During the exit interviews, Joe Dumars sat there and told the media this following quote. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
You prepared?
I am prepared.
Okay. I would add more toughness to this team.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be able to compete every night. We cannot get banged around, pushed around. Too many nights we didn't compete at a high enough level for me. You can't get past that in this league. You can't skip that. So he's letting you know that he didn't think that the current roster, the way it was constructed, was tough enough. Right? That's pretty straightforward. He's letting you know the team wasn't tough enough.
For the most part, yeah.
Okay.
Other than re-signing DeAndre Jordan, what have they done? That's your question.
The entire roster's the same.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's the exact same.
With the exception of drafting the local kid out of New Orleans in the second round.
Shout out to him.
Is he going to be the one? Your late second round draft pick's going to be the guy that's going to bring the toughness?
Jerron Pierre Jr. is who you're talking about.
St. Aug. Yeah,
the St. Aug kid. I would say that unless they just had a plan this offseason to sign guys and that they've just utterly failed, I wonder if the whole play for them was with him saying that they weren't tough enough, was the fact that they're like, we just need to get a coach that is going to coach the toughness into them.
I never thought I'd see the day.
And that was their whole game plan.
I never thought I'd see the day where the Pelicans, where I'd go through this phase of the last 3 GMs, that Demps would be the most competent GM.
And we thought Demps was terrible.
And we we were all wrong. He's not as terrible as the other guys that came after him. And Griff has a World Series championship on the resume, and Joe Dumars has a World Championship on the resume. And these two guys have done a worse job. Demps got Tyreek, got Boogie, got Isaac. He also got Rondo for that one great year. He hit on some things there. Now it went sideways. He wasn't perfect. He became bad at his job. But it's been a comedy of errors ever since. The They're really going to run this team back out. This is what they're going to do. They're going to be like, hey, man.
Especially after...
We got DeAndre Jordan back. What's up? Huh? Lob City. That was 10 years ago. We're going to bring it back here in New Orleans, huh? Yeah, fresh. Yes.
The better 2/3 of Lob City are retired at this point.
There's a fourth on that team, right? It was Paul, it was Blake, it was DeAndre. Who was the fourth? I'm forgetting.
I mean, J.J. Redick was their shooter.
Yeah, JJ was the spot-up shooter. By the way, this is also a franchise that does a terrible job of adding leadership. You ever notice that? Remember when they got JJ and it ruffled too many feathers? It didn't work because he was too hard. Every time they try to add a guy for leadership reasons, it always blows up in their face. You know why? Because you're a poorly ran organization. It comes from the top. It always has.
And I wonder if, since they did the one-year deal with DeAndre and it obviously went swimmingly, that they were like, all right, finally we have an older guy that can be like one of the OGs in the locker room that can be that type of presence for him. And they're like, oh, we finally found one. Let's sign him to multiple years. Let's really lock him up for a somewhat long term instead of it being like a really small rental.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. It's just absolutely unbelievable. We got to take a time out. When we come back, open phone lines again. If you'd like to, you can chop it up with us. ESPN hotline is open, 337-706-0111. You're listening to RP3 and Meche.
This is RP3 and Meche live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
The fellas here at ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles are packing their bags and headed to Florida. Tampa, to be specific, for SEC Media Days. Tune in starting Monday, July 20th, as RP3 Meche and The Lowdown with D'Lo will be broadcasting live from Radio Row as for ESPN's Live from SEC Media Day coverage, powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac. In addition to the live shows, the fellows will be providing boots-on-the-ground daily reports for the Jordy Holtberg Show and Footnotes. Kick off the 2026 football season in Tampa with ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana Sports Station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
Jordan Walker of the St. Louis Cardinals took home the Home Run Derby championship last night in his first ever time competing in the contest. He beat out Philly Kyle Schwarber in the championship round 12-11 and hit 6 consecutive home runs, with 4 coming on the bonus ball to beat Schwarber for the crown. Walker's longest home run of the night was 470 feet, but Junior Caminero of Tampa Bay had the longest of the Derby with a 491-foot blast in the second round. Continuing with the MLB All-Star break, the 2026 All-Star Game gets underway tonight from Philadelphia. Astros slugger Yordan Alvarez is in the starting lineup for the American League, batting in the 2 spot as the designated hitter. On the mound, it'll be Dylan Cease of Toronto representing the American League, opposite of Christopher Sanchez for the National League and the hosting Philadelphia Phillies. First pitch is at 7 p.m. tonight from Citizens Bank Park. Today in the FIFA World Cup semifinals, France will face neighbor and longtime rival Spain for a spot in the World Cup final. This is the 3rd straight semifinal fixture between the two teams in competitive tournaments, with Spain winning both of the previous meetings. Kickoff is at 2 p.m. this afternoon from AT&T Stadium in Arlington. The road to the college football season continues tomorrow as Kevin Foote and Dawson Iserlo will head to New Orleans for Sun Belt Conference Media Days. You'll be able to catch Footnotes with Kevin Foote from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., followed by The Lowdown with D'Lo from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. live from Radio Row in New Orleans. Coverage begins tomorrow with live interviews and all the latest news on Sun Belt Conference football. I'm Blake Purser, and you're listening to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Row coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserlo. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
Get ready for one of South Louisiana's favorite summer traditions. The 17th annual STM Fishing Rodeo is July 31st and August 1st at Quintana Landing in Sycamore Point. Whether you're chasing the winning catch or just looking for a great weekend on the water, enjoy great fishing, exciting prizes, delicious food, and a fun atmosphere, all while supporting St. Thomas More Catholic High School. Register by July 24th at noon to guarantee your official event t-shirt. Register today at stmcougars.net/fishing.
We are the soldiers of the Louisiana Army National Guard. We are your neighbors. We are your sons and daughters. While we serve part-time, we are learning valuable life and job skills. We are earning money for college, for trade and technical schools, and for certifications. We are proud to serve both our country and our home state. We are your Louisiana Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Your Honor, I would like to introduce exhibit number 1.
MeTV is America's #1 classic television network.
There can only be one #1, me.
MeTV features over 60 of the greatest classic TV series each week.
Go with the winner.
Enjoy dramas, comedies, westerns, sci-fi, and more.
You just watch me.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
What is dementia? Is it the same as Alzheimer's? What is vascular dementia, Lewy body, FTD, TBI, and CTE? If someone has memory loss, does that mean they have dementia? Millions of Americans ask these questions every day. I did too, and I learned. My wife Ginny developed dementia. I didn't know what to do or what was coming next. I'm Kevin Jameson, volunteer and president of the Dementia Society of America. I'm excited to offer you a free guide to understanding dementia. It's filled with facts about dementia, care planning, how doctors can help, and ways to keep your brain as healthy as possible. The Dementia Society of America is a national nonprofit, and we're ready to answer your questions. You want to live life to the fullest. I know that. Ginny did too, and I'm confident that we can help. Get your copy of the guide. Go to 1-800-DEMENTIA.org or call 1-800-DEMENTIA. Thank you.
You're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Your home for the best local sports talk in Southwest Louisiana.
Me, oh my crawfish pie. We've had a good show today. But you know what we haven't done? We've talked about the Smellicans. We've talked about the World Cup. We talked about the Home Run Derby and our poll question of the day, which is Home Run Derby related. We've talked LSU baseball. But you know what we haven't done? We haven't talked about James Meche.
I do like talking about myself.
There it is. Got the new look with the glasses.
Mm-hmm. I finally, after it's been 9 years since I last had like my own prescription sunglasses.
Okay.
And that's mainly by choice because I'm supposed to be wearing them. But I lost them back in high school and I just never got a new pair. So after 9 years, during the week off last week, before I went on my trip to Minneapolis, I decided, all right, let's go get some sunglasses, or let's go get some actual prescription sunglasses to see.
Yeah, you did. It looks sharp, man.
Thank you.
I know when you walked in today, Blake was like, whoa, what's happening?
Whoa. Who is that?
Who is this guy?
What's going on? Is this like a fashion look? No, I have 20/30 vision, so now it's better.
He's got the hair right again. He's got the new glasses. He's got the chain. He's living his best life. Now, you were gone for multiple days. Some of those days you didn't really communicate with Blake or Dawson about you not being here, but that's fine. We took care of it. But you were gone for multiple days in lovely Minneapolis, Minnesota for a Yogurt U tournament. So let's break this down. Mm-hmm. You did not receive an invite. You simply went on a whim to go up there because it's a national event.
Yes.
And you had to essentially qualify on the Friday, correct?
Mm-hmm.
To be able to get into the event on Saturday, the actual main event. So how did qualifying go on the Friday?
So there was actually, now that there's two big ways to play in the tournament. There's the regular advanced, which is like the main one. And then there's the other main event called Genesis format. You could do the main event Genesis format on Friday or do what's called LCQs, which is a last chance qualifier to do the advanced event. Instead of doing Genesis, I decided to do the LCQs.
Okay.
And my main thing was I was like, yeah, I'd like to get the invite, no doubt about it. But I didn't put much of an emphasis on it. I was like, on this trip, instead of it being super yogurt focused, I wanted to also treat it as like somewhat of an actual vacation as well, where I'm at least exploring the city, going to see other sites, and kind of getting a vibe of the city and the state itself, since this was my first time going.
There we go. That's my boy.
So I only did 2 LCQs. I could have easily done like 7 or 8 if I failed the first 6 or 7 times.
So how did you fare?
I lost.
So you did not qualify for the Saturday event?
Correct. I did not qualify in the 2 that I did.
Okay. But you still got to experience the event in a weird way, right? It's a kind of adjacent, but still you got to experience. Now, did you go and attend the event and just watch other people play on Saturday? Is that allowed or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing is, people like to get a little too close into people's spaces that are playing, so the judge will be like, back up. That wasn't the word for me, because I was more of just watching and kind of doing other things overall.
I got you.
And I would constantly get updates from my friends to be like, so won, lost, like what's it looking like? And they would tell me afterwards and tell me about each round for them. And then they always stream the events on YouTube, on their YouTube channels.
Okay.
So I kind of just watch it in real time. So I'll just go sit, watch on the stage, kind of pay attention from there, but also just talk with some people, because there's plenty of people that I've watched or like know about on social media that I will either meet for the first time or re-meet, because I ended up doing the same event, but actually qualifying 2 years ago when it was in Dallas or Austin, one of those two.
So that didn't go the way that you wanted to, but you still had a good time.
Mm-hmm.
While you were there, what were some of the things that you got to go and explore a great city like Minneapolis?
So, since obviously I've always been a sports guy as well, I made sure to put some time into actually going to see what they have available over there. And I've always been more of a pro guy over college, so I didn't go to the university.
So did you go tour it's US Bank Stadium?
US Bank Stadium for football.
That's where the Vikings play.
The Target Center for the NBA and WNBA, because they share it for the Timberwolves and the Lynx.
Correct.
Of course, Target Field, which is right next to Target Center for the Twins.
For the Twinkies, yeah.
You also have a Lions Field for their MLS FC.
Oh, of course you do. So what did you go tour any of those facilities?
That's the unfortunate part is even my cousin's wife, who actually works for the Minnesota Wild, I even asked him when I got in, because I actually didn't get in until 2:23 a.m. on Friday to their house, because I was staying at their house instead of getting a hotel. I was like,
could I not get to their place until that time? You had Wednesday and Thursday off last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the flight wasn't until 5-something in the afternoon on Thursday. And then we also got delayed.
So you just took Wednesday off just for good measure, to mentally prepare yourself for your trip. I like that. To prepare yourself for the jet lag.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just walked around outside. You didn't get any access. You didn't do what RP3 does. When I go to college campuses, I find a gate that's not locked and I just walk into a facility.
Yeah, the issue is like actually with pro teams, they're more professional in the sense they actually keep everything locked. So
yeah, security guards.
And even when I went up to security, I tried to explain myself. I was like, look, I actually work in sports media. Like, I'm not just some weird bozo. I would love to just kind of get a quick tour if possible, just like see the inside of the stadium if that's possible. And I was immediately met with a no every single time. So I tried and I failed. But what I did do was when I was driving, I was like, all right, let me find the best possible spot, because I kind of tried my best to go around each one of the arenas and the stadiums and whatnot in the parks to find the best spot to kind of take a picture of each one to kind of capture what you're looking at. US Bank Stadium is like this futuristic metropolis type of Shaw's with the abstract, I guess you could say, type of structuring, the way they built it. It's really cool. I forgot how crazy US Bank Stadium looked for the Vikings, especially because I remember just a handful of years ago when they were still playing outside before they got the new stadium. So it was quite the change up from there. Target Center, I remember looking at the GPS and it said, you're here. And I was like, where is it? Because it just looks like every other building. And then I had to look up like to the right. I was like, so I guess it's this. So I had to just doing some maneuvering Shaws to eventually kind of get a completely different angle from the road, and then was able to take a good enough picture to be like, okay, so this is the Target Center. It's definitely nothing like the Superdome or the Smoothie King Center, where it's very clear what it is and where it is, because the parking lot kind of surrounds it and it's right next to the highway. Like, no, you're in the city, and unless you know exactly where the Target Center is, you could easily walk right past and be like, dude, where am I supposed to watch this Timberwolves game? It was also kind of weird with Target Park because it's in a weird part of the highway. Trying to take a picture of it was awkward for sure. But eventually I found a good one where it included the name of the park, Target Field, and also had the Twins logo. So that was good enough. I believe it was on the back of one of their scoreboards as well. So you live with it. And then Alliance Field was cool, especially because I could look through any one of the opening doors, because it was just a clear window for each one of the doors. And there was no going through the stadium like we see with football and basketball to eventually get to the pitch. Like, no, you could look through the window, open the door, and you're like, wow, there's the action right there. Like, there is no walking around. It's boom. I actually just put my phone on the screen, on the window.
Boom.
Took a picture, and you could see the goal from the other side and basically get a whole scope of the soccer field and the stadium itself. And then didn't really get a good look of the hockey stadium for the Minnesota Wild. But overall, I would say just being able to drive past it and get a good enough picture of each one of them was satisfying enough.
Did you try, because we're up against it, did you try any local cuisine? Did you try yourself a Juicy Lucy?
No, because
Dude.
Well, here's the thing. They were like, you have to go to Matt's. And I was like, why am I going to Matt's? And they were like, you have to try the Juicy Lucy. And I was like, okay, well, really, how juicy is Lucy?
So people told you to go try it and you didn't go try it?
Yeah, because once they were like, it's just a burger with cheese inside. I was like, that's it? That's like what we're getting excited for here in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
But that's what they're known for. So why wouldn't you try it?
Well, they also
why did you scoff
they're also really big on poutine. And I was like, well, let me try the poutine. And the poutine that I tried at the place I was at, I was like, it's not bad. But I definitely felt like they could have done a lot better. Because I love the fact that it's fries, cheese curds, pork belly, and then brown gravy on top. But I definitely felt like, with all the cuisine that I tried, because they kept also recommending me European country style restaurants. They were like, go to Brits for British food, go to this Black Forest Inn for German food, and go to the local for Irish food. I'm like, so there's nothing that really screams Minnesota here? Like, you don't have like your own identity?
The Juicy Lucy, which you refuse to try.
Just didn't come around.
That's like saying if you come down to Louisiana, I don't eat gumbo. That's what you did. Come on, Kat. I'm disappointed in you. Well, Even the people up there told you had to go try one. You had family that tried you to go tell one or whatever, friends or whatever, and you're like, nah.
Well, it's funny because I even asked one of the locals, I was like, so like, tell me about Matt's and the Juicy Lucy, and he's like, oh, it's severely overrated. And I was like, oh, all right, sick. Like,
but you're not going to know unless you try, James.
I was very skeptical, and also when I asked the friends, they were like, well, let's go other places. And I was like,
there we go.
All right, why not?
There we go. What a trip for James Meche. I'm happy for him.
Didn't even get to the football player.
No, we'll do that after the break. You're listening to RP3 and Meche.
This is RP3 and Meche live on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
How many delicious small sliders can you eat? Well, you can find out by taking part in the Lafayette Small Sliders Eating Contest held during the Lafayette Anniversary Bash on Saturday, July 25th at 4611 Ambassador Caffrey Parkway. During the location's Anniversary Bash, which also features bounce houses and games for the kids, live music, and more, there will be, of course, the coveted eating contest. To sign up to see if you have what it takes to win the contest, visit ESPNSouthwestLouisiana.com and click on the Small Sliders sign-up sheet.
ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles is packing its bags and headed to Tampa for SEC Media Days. Tune in starting Monday, July 20th, as RP3 and Meche and The Lowdown with D'Lo will be broadcasting live from Radio Row for ESPN's Live from SEC Media Day coverage. powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac. Kick off the 2026 season in Tampa with ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Around Acadiana, community means supporting the businesses that make our hometown special. That's why we're proud to spotlight local companies that are certified South Louisiana.
Delta Home Center and Delta Trailer Sales, your one-stop shop for utility and cargo trailers. Heavy-duty dump and gooseneck trailers, portable buildings, cabins, decks, porches, fences, carports, and site-built metal shops. Located at Exit 7 in Carencro or at deltatrailersales.com.
When you support local businesses, you strengthen the communities we call home. Shop local, support local. Certified South Louisiana.
Only the best of the best will stand proudly on the platform when Michael's Men's Club brings you the 15th Annual Stripper Olympics. Wednesday, July 15th. It's a special night of fun and games when the Stripper Olympics returns to Michael's Men's Club. Guys, it's a no-holds-barred competition. Ladies, you have a chance to win big if you're in the game. Michael's Men's Club invites you to battle it out in 3 categories. The pole, the floor show, and the most ancient art of them all, the lap dance. With $650 cash per category. First place overall gets $1,500. Second place overall gets $1,000. And third overall gets $500. That's $5,000 in total Stripper Olympics cash to be awarded. Plus a feature in Exotic Dancer magazine. Professional entertainers come from all over the USA to compete for the $5,000 in cash. Guys, mark your calendar and tell your friends, because this is the event you cannot miss. The 15th Annual Stripper Olympics. Wednesday, July 15th at Lafayette's premier gentleman's establishment, Michael's Men's Club. Highway 90 Broussard. Doors open at 5 and show starts at 7 sharp. Tickets $30 at the door. Let the games begin. Get more details now at michaelsmensclub.com.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3 gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then contact us tab or 337-519-3563.
It's 9 a.m. You just received a voicemail from your boss.
Hey, Janet. Heads up. We got an important meeting coming up Thursday. The big guys are coming into town, so I need you in charge of lunch, and we've got to look good.
Luckily for Janet, she knows a place, and she knows her boss will be impressed.
Honey Baked Ham can cater your next event. Delicious and freshly sliced deli trays, box lunches with sandwich, chips, and dessert. Or try our fresh salad boxes, and the perfect touch with a meat and cheese tray. Honey Baked Ham Company.
One is known far and wide for his luscious head of hair.
We just wash the hair. You know, I work on my hair a long time.
The other wishes he still had his. Back to more RP3 and Meche.
Oh, I want to thank Koki Riley of The Advocate and NOLA.com talking LSU baseball with us. I want to thank BP talking World Cup with us. Quick update on the poll question of the day, Mr. Meche.
Yeah, as of right now, Barry Bonds still heavily leading the way of who would win this hypothetical home run derby between the 4 best home run hitters of all time with the best numbers. 20% have said Hank Aaron, 7% have gone with the Babe, and no votes towards Albert Pujols.
Keep those votes coming. Keep leaving your comments on Facebook and on X and on the YouTube as well. We got a couple seconds here. Tell the folks who you met.
Out of nowhere, I was in line, and I look out of the corner of my eye. I was like, Kenneth Walker? And he's like, what's up, dude? And then later on, I ended up meeting him again and took a couple pictures. I'll post it on social media later, pictures on my trip. And then I was like, so talk to me about free agency, kind of break it down a little bit for me. And then at the end, I was like, look, dude, I work in sports. I work for a sports station in Louisiana. Is there any chance that we could get you on the air for an interview sometime? And he said, yeah, just hit me up on Instagram. So we'll see how that actually plays out.
There you go. There you go. That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back on the airwaves tomorrow, 11 to 1. But up next is the Lowdown with D-Lo.
Stop smoking with Alex Goen patented hypnosis.
My name's Robin Fletcher. I've smoked for 46 years. I went to a seminar in March. I took my 3